It can be really boring to do the same thing again and again. But computers never get bored. So, if we tell them to do something over and over, they will just do it without complaining. One of the easiest ways of telling computers to do something repeatedly is to use loops. A loop in a computer program is an instruction that repeats until a specified condition is reached. For example, an algorithm for "Please play my song," "Please play my song," "Please play my song." If we use a loop, it's much simpler. Please play my song 3 times. It's much faster to type and easier to read. This kind of loop tells the computer to do the same thing a set number of times, but program can use loops for lots of different things. Games use loops to repeatedly change what's shown on the screen. Websites use loops to show groups of things that look similar but have different text in them, like the comments under a YouTube video. Let's get Phyton to say "Hello Phyton" 3 times. The first line here is what tells Phyton to do a loop. The "for" keyword tells Phyton to do a loop, and number is a variable name that we can choose. Each time through the loop, Phyton will put a new value in this variable. The second line is the code we want Phyton to loop over, and the 4 spaces at the start of the line are an indent, which you have to include so Phyton can tell which code should be looped over. The blank line at the end, where we just press enter, tells Phyton that the loop has finished, and you can put more than one line of code inside the loop, as long as you remember to type the blank spaces at the start for the indent. Phyton will wait until you type a blank line so that it knows the loop is finished. Then, run your code. Remember to type the colon at the end of the first line, and you don't need to type the 3 dots. Phyton will automatically do it. Change the prompt from those angle brackets to 3 dots because it's waiting for you to type more code. And when you type the second line, make sure you type 4 spaces before you type print. And make sure you leave the third line blank and just press enter. Let's try this experiment to see what value the variable holds each time through the loop. Again, don't forget to type the colon and the 4 spaces for the indent. Remember that print tells Phyton to write something out and to the console. In this case, it will write out the value that's inside a variable called number. So if you run this code, you should see output like 0, 1, 2. As you'd expect, there are 3 numbers here, but surprisingly, there's 0, 2, 2, not 1 to 3. It's very common in programming to start counting from 0 instead of 1. But the code will still count through 3 numbers, whatever number it starts from. The in gives Phyton the list of things we'd like it to loop through, which is generated by range 3, which tells Phyton to loop through 3 numbers 0, 1, and 2. If you want Phyton to count up to 5, you should use range 6, which tells Phyton to loop through 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's try to make Python say, hi ho, it's off to work we go. Try typing this. As soon as you type the blank third line, Python will print hi ho twice because it knows the loop is finished. But it's off to work we go is outside the loop because it isn't indented. So it will only be printed once. You should end up with code that looks like this. Remember to type the colon at the end of the first line. And you don't need to type the 3 dots. Python will automatically change the prompt from 3 angle brackets to 3 dots because it's waiting for you to type more code. When you type the second line, make sure you type 4 spaces before you type print. Make sure you leave the third line blank and just press enter.